Louisville squad is legit. And we're about ready to go from the women's building, and we're off on this Friday night in Syracuse. Syracuse sets up Palm on the outside. Good dig by Elena Scott. Here's De Beer, and that finds Orange on the other side, so Louisville gets the party started here early on with a 1-0 lead. Anna De Beer recorded her fourth straight double-double last Wednesday. That was against Notre Dame. De Beer with the serve here, and that goes off the hands of Naw. Good save by George to run and get it. Behind to Robbins, and that goes off the hands of Syracuse. Back-to-back points for the Cardinals.
Those free balls for Louisville especially can be so dangerous because, it's called a free ball for a reason, right, Nico? It's an easy ball going over the net, and they have a great offense with 3 attackers, and they're going to set somebody to typically score off of that set.
And it's those errant mistakes, like the one we just saw from Skylar George, that Coach Bakir Ganashrantnam told us Syracuse is going to have to limit to have a legitimate shot in this game.
That's straight scouting and watching film from the Louisville side. You could obviously tell that they're putting the ball on George to be able to pass that. It's always harder when you're serving to your outside hitters.
First service error of the game from either side, so Syracuse a chance to take advantage. Layla, for the Orange, what's going to be the most important attribute for them to try and keep the intensity going here at home in front of the 4th-ranked team in the country?
I think Syracuse struggles with keeping their energy up throughout their sets, and that's one thing you can't do with a team like Louisville. Energy has to remain high. You have to communicate, and also serve receiving is most important too. Being able to get a good pass, get a good set, and get an attack off of that ball.
Good block by Cressy just a minute ago. Louisville, another shot, and they get it done. That was maybe the best we've seen Syracuse in system so far, but no match for the Cardinals. So here's Elena Scott to send it away for the Ville. Reigning ACC Defensive Player of the Year. Another free ball. You keep talking about it, Layla. Let's see what Louisville does here. But instead, it's Syracuse with the block. Veronica Sierzans gets the Orange their first point.
Sierzan was able to see where that set was, and she took away that line shot and was able to get a great block on that attack.
Sierzan had 4 block assists in the loss against Wake Forest last weekend. And that goes off the right arm of Schlichter. Good kill from the Cardinals side.
PK was able to go around Harris Waddy and just attack the libero, and the ball was not able to be picked up. That's one thing that we talked about earlier with Louisville's middles. They're so dominant, and you have to find a way to slow them down, or else it'll be a game that just moves on very quickly.
Pegron Kong had a couple of blocks last year against Syracuse, so has some years under her belt against the Orange so far. The Cuse down 3, and a point. Harris Waddy with the kill. Zaria Harris Waddy, 3rd on Syracuse with kills in ACC play, and she's really ramped her game up since non-conference play, which, by the way, was an incredible start for Syracuse, 12-0 on the year, including a win over Iowa State. And it is PK getting it done again with a soft float over for the Cardinals.
This season, that's been the one thing that the Oranges struggle with a lot, are those tips in open areas. It's the communication of who's going to get that, and also just being there at the right time to pick up those hard tips.
George on the far side. And she records her first kill of the game. Skylar George has been in a bit of a slump lately, but Coach Ganashrantnam says that she's starting to break out of it. Redshirt freshman from Houston, also transferred from the University of Utah before this year. And just like that, Louisville, another point. But look at their reaction after these points. They're so calm, and they have just so much experience doing that time and time again this year, where it seems like, if Syracuse had a kill like that, they'd get maybe just a little bit more excited.
They're almost just so used to it. This is not foreign to them at all. This is their comfort zone. They know what they're doing, and they know how to run an offensive system that will make things happen on the court, as we just saw.
Another error from the Syracuse side. One thing that I noted about Louisville today, walking into the building, just how focused of a team that they are.
They only have one thing on their mind, Nico, trying to get to that championship game and winning the championship.
George fists it over. Here's DeBeer. Tries to go for the corner, but a good save by Palm. Now George again. Off the chest of Looper. A point for SU. And the Cuse is back within 3.
That was just a high attack right there on her chest, and she just wasn't able to bring it back around into the court. That was a great kill for George.
So Ashley Naw comes back into the ball game for Syracuse. Had 2 service aces against Wake Forest last time out. Another freshman on this orange squad, but overall a much more experienced and older team than they had last year. And a good block. Now I beg your pardon, that block went out. So that is a Cardinals point with Sofia Maldonado-Diaz on the serve coming up. Senior from Guadalajara, Mexico, also transferred from Arizona before last year. Sears amp behind to Nicole Nikova. Here's DeBeer. And DeBeer and the Cardinals earn the point.
What went wrong right there? The blockers were there. Sears and Nicole Nikova was there. It's just pressing over the net and being able to get up early is the main thing you have to do to be able to stop a hitter like DeBeer.
Instead of going behind Nicole Nikova, the Orange go to George on the far side. Palm from the back. George again, trying to get going here early in the game, and she has another kill. Third kill of the game for George. Go ahead, Layla.
I'm sorry, the main thing she's doing right now is using the attacker's hands. And when you're able to tool, the ball can literally go anywhere, and it's hard for the team to get. And she's hitting high. That's the smartest thing you can do when you have a big block across the net.
And Looper couldn't quite handle it on the receive. Skylar George responsible for another point for Syracuse. It's a 10-7 Cardinals lead in set 1. Skylar George has really created just a good pairing as that ball spins on the top of the tape for a Syracuse point.
Those are one of the best aces to have.
That's one way to get an ace.
Over the net.
Yep. Well, Syracuse will take it. But what I was going to get to was Palm and George have just been a great duo from the back row for Syracuse so far this year. But unfortunately for George, that's also been an issue, has been the service errors from time to time.
That's one thing that Syracuse has to limit when you're playing teams like Louisville, errors on your own side, especially serving errors.
It's the little things in these huge games against a team like Louisville, and now the Cardinals get one to go their way. Anna DeBeer with the service ace. DeBeer, the reigning ACC Player of the Year, led Louisville to a #2 seed last year. And she's trying to have that same resume and for their team push farther than their Elite 8 game last year when they lost to Pitt. But DeBeer picks up the service error. So a couple mistakes from both sides. Syracuse still within 3, and Greta Schlichter to send it away for the Orange. Here's Looper. And Palm's hit just goes a bit too far out of bounds. Point for the Cardinals. Layla, what are you seeing with
She just missed it out. I mean, she had the right intentions of going cross court and hitting that line, but you have to be able to get on top of the ball and snap your wrists to keep that ball in. She just wasn't able to do it that time.
The Cuse somehow keeps it alive. Here's Looper. And that stays in. Boy, Looper paints the corner. And that's back-to-back points for Louisville.
She's such a smart attacker. Her IQ on the court, you would think that ball's going out, but she knew what she was doing. She was finding that empty back corner, and she got it. Most times, defenders are not in that area.
Here's a free ball for Louisville. Well, they couldn't take advantage. Back to Syracuse's side. Ava Palm. Some hands by Robbins and Kong over on the far side. Good rally here. Searzant trying for the misdirection. Robbins. And Syracuse couldn't quite block it. Palm and Harris Waddy were there, but couldn't do anything with it. Syracuse hanging around here in set one. Louisville up 15-9 here from the women's building. Competition for Louisville, but some standout wins this year so far for them, including Stanford. So back out of the timeout. Scott to send it away for Louisville. And that's a kill by Pegron Kong for the Cardinals.
All players love those overpass kills. That's also another free ball given to you where you could put another point on your stat sheet.
Third kill of the game for Kong. And so George floated it over, but Louisville played hot potato on the other side.
She was smart for that. She saw those forehands on the net, and she was able to get it right over the block, and it trickled over where defenders just couldn't get to it.
Searzant went down the line on the serve. Now Looper. Good dig by George. That's a mile high in the air. Scott on the other side. Here's Looper again. Syracuse a chance to take advantage. Sydney Waller gets the kill for Syracuse.
That's the one thing right now that Louisville is not doing well. It seems like the Syracuse attackers, they're tipping right over the block, which is a great thing, but you have to also know that most teams don't want to hit against a big block like that. They're going to try to tip and do other things to score. So Louisville has to be ready for that.
And that kill attempt goes too far for Kong, and Syracuse another point. So Layla, what is the difference, or I should say the fine line between trying to pound it home and just being smart with it and barely floating it over for a point?
I think most times people don't understand you don't have to hit the ball so hard to score in volleyball. It's all about being smart and having the IQ to see what's happening on the other side of the court. So right now with those soft shots and those tips, it's very well working for a team like Louisville.
Robbins, and a tough hit off of Schlichter. That's a point for Louisville. Boy, Reese Robbins put her name in this game right there. Sophomore from the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Also had 7 kills against Syracuse last year. All right, so here's Nylise Cabello to send it off for Louisville. Haven't said her name much today, but records the service error for Louisville off the bottom of the tape. DeBeer. And she is so good at stopping some of these mini runs that opposing teams might have. And DeBeer keeps Louisville up by 5. So here's DeBeer's counterpart, Charity Looper, to send it off. Harris Waddy slams it down.
We've seen some great things from her this season. She has made a great impact for the Syracuse team. Head coach says that her being on the court makes a difference, and she has the energy and the talent to be starting and continues to do well for the Orange team.
Kill number 2 for Harris Waddy. And PK with the kill. How about Pegron Kong? Had a great start to this game for Louisville so far today.
A quick attack behind the setter. That's called a slide. And she does a great job with being efficient on those attacks.
These rallies have been fairly quick so far. Searzant a nice dig. All the way cross court to George. Here's the beer. And Louisville with the point. Anna DeBeer leads Louisville in kills and really has just not been pressing as much since Louisville dropped one to Pitt a couple of weeks ago. And that has shown here so far in set one as Syracuse takes a timeout. Layla, what have you seen from Anna DeBeer so far in this game and really all season for the Cardinals? One of the best. Action after their first win over Niagara the other day. St. Joseph's comes to town in the Dome. 2 o'clock tip-off on Sunday here on ACC Network Extra. All right, out of the timeout, Louisville to send it away. They are 5 points away from a first set victory. They're up 6 at the moment. Syracuse trying to stay alive here in set one. Palm from the back. And a high dig from Louisville. That was Strand a minute ago. And that's a block. Sofia Maldonado Diaz puts Louisville up by 7.
That was a trap set right there. It was out of system, and it was just too close to the net. I feel like she could have went over the hands of the blockers and not just directly into them because that block is so strong over the net.
And Nicole Nakova with the kill up front for Syracuse. The tallest player on SU's side at 6'4". And how important is she going to have to be for the remainder of this game to match some of the height that Louisville has on their side?
She's going to have to be so important. I mean, she does a great job with being up. The setters look for her as well on the court. And with her height, being able to hit around the blockers and just score is what Syracuse needs right now. And moving forward in the game. Yeah,
one of the best in the nation, Kara Cressy, couldn't make up her mind on that last point as she scratches her head. Bit of a slow start for Cressy tonight, but this is why Louisville's so good. So well balanced. As that goes off the hands of Scott on the receive. Scott, one of the best liberos in the nation, with an error right there to keep Syracuse alive, and the Orange are down 4 with the serve.
I like how you mentioned well-balanced, Nico. Like, that's so important for volleyball teams or any team. When you have a well-balanced team, if one person is lacking or slipping, someone else can pick up what they're missing, you know, and continue to be great for the team.
Well, I think Cressy just heard what I said because she picks up her second kill of the game right there up front for Louisville. Leads the team in blocks, also 4th in the country in blocks per set at just over a block and a half. George, just a bit outside, and Louisville 2 points away from taking set one.
I love that she's being aggressive, though. With teams like this, you have to be aggressive. You have to go for it. And it was a hard miss out, but keep going for it.
Got to take some of those chances if you're Syracuse as maybe Syracuse's top outside hitter. Where were her 10, 15 kills from last game? And that puts Cressy and the rest of the Louisville middles in the right position going into the next contest.
Film is so important, and you can see it. It works out for them. They're the number 4 ranked team in the country. Film plays a big role in being successful in games, Nico.
DeBeer slams it down, point for Louisville. Cardinals a point away from a first set victory here in Syracuse. Syracuse goes to George. And that goes outside. Louisville with the point. And the Cardinals take the opening set here in the women's building.
And if you get a team out of system, they're not going to have those tight sets on the net, perfectly set balls to score. So Syracuse needs to lock in on that, I think, for this set.
And that's been one of the goals from Coach Ganesh Ratnam coming into this game was the serves. That was a good dig by George a minute ago. Syracuse a chance to get going in set 2. A good dig by Scott. Cabello there as well. Searzant and Harris Waddy. Boy, an all-out diving effort by Scott, but it wasn't enough, and Syracuse takes the lead here on the opening point.
That was a great attempt by Scott. She's a great libero. She's always on the court, but she just wasn't able to get to it. Harris Waddy does a great job behind the setter as well, and using those hands to score.
Schlichter to send it off. And Elena Scott with the dig, or rather the receive. And Schlichter couldn't handle it. Boy, Elena Scott one of the most decorated active liberos in the NCAA, has 3 ACC Defensive Player of the Week awards this year, and she's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in the ACC. Just one of the best in college volleyball.
Those accolades right there says a lot about who she is and who Louisville is as a team.
One of the rocks for the Cardinals squad as we're in a tied game, but Syracuse tries to get it back over. They do, and that's back-to-back leads for the Cuse. 2-1. Sometimes it's not the strongest play that you make in volleyball. Sometimes it's just the smartest, and that's something you brought up a bit earlier, Layla.
Yeah, using hands. I always try to emphasize that. When you're able to use a blocker's hands and swipe off of them or hit over top of them, it's amazing, honestly, because you could be successful. It's not always about trying to hit around, but you could hit through and use them to score as well.
And that's a service error from Maldonado Diaz. Her first of the night. Louisville's 4th as a team. And it's a 3-2 Syracuse lead here in the second set with Ava Palm to send it off. DeBeer with the receive. Good dig by the diving Schlichter. Not much you can do about Cressy's size up front in the middle. Good kill by her.
I mean, she is one of the best in the country, and wow, that dive is amazing. She did not give up on that play, and she was able to get back to her teammates to put it over the net. But unfortunately, Cressy, being the great hitter she is, scored on that point.
Syracuse playing well. Louisville just doing a nice job of staying true to their game. What a dig by Scott. Boy, she's been incredible tonight. Talk about pounding it down. That's what Louisville's done quite a bit tonight.
Looper does a great job with seeing that spot, that hard cross shot on the court is available, because even though liberos are there, it's hard to get to when you're on the left side of that libero's shoulder.
DeBeer with the ace after Looper had her 2nd kill of the night. Looper coming off a 12-kill performance last Saturday in a win over Notre Dame. It was a home-and-home series for Louisville and Notre Dame. Cardinals swept both. And now Harris Waddy gets into the party.
She is pumped. Look at her, the way she just jumped up in excitement. She is doing a really good job with being available. I mean, setters are looking for her on the court to find her, to make things happen. And she has become a go-to player for the Orange. 5
kills for Harris Waddy. And she now has 5 or more kills in 7 of the last 8 matches for Syracuse, but a response from Robbins and Louisville.
I feel like that's one thing that you will forever want to brag about, Nico. Like, I got this certain amount of kills against a number 4 ranked team, you know?
It's got to be much more than the individual. It's got to be a team effort. And Syracuse as a squad has really looked solid tonight. Down by 2, now 3, as Louisville picks up the point. And Elena Scott goes back to send it away. You know, there's one difference that Louisville's had to face this year, and that is serving in big arenas and big buildings, and then you come to a building like this in Syracuse where the building is a lot smaller and more compact, as Elena Scott picks up the service error there. It plays with your vision a lot from the service line, because you could be in an arena and think you got to pound it a really far distance, but then you have to tone it down a little bit in these small buildings when really it's the same distance on the court.
I know, locations really do matter. I mean, we've heard from other coaches in the ACC how different buildings really play a factor in how the teams play, whether that's lighting or whether that's more court space, whether that's the amount of fans that can be in there. So 100%, Nico, I agree.
Gonna look at that last point, and it goes off the top of the tape. Nonetheless, it was awarded to Syracuse, and now Louisville responds. You know, it's something that we haven't really seen much of tonight, or longer rallies so far. A lot of these points have been pretty quick, and both sides have done a nice job of adjusting very quickly, but we haven't seen that really long rally yet tonight.
No, we haven't. I feel like when it comes to rallies, that comes to great defense as well. And most balls have just been going down with no defenders being able to get under them. So long rallies will not be shown a lot of times.
Well, Syracuse down 2. Nikolnikova with the attempt. Cabello over to Looper. And Looper with her 3rd kill. Charity Looper, since transferring from UCLA last year, has just been an immense part for Louisville. Voted the best outside hitter for this year. Nikolnikova gets the orange going, and that's a kill for the tallest player on SU.
Nikolnikova behind the setter, she is so great at seeing the court and where to hit, and her swing is also just so powerful.
Very quick, too, it seems like.
I think she does better behind the setter than in front of, and I think she's more comfortable behind the setter as well. She does a great job.
Looper couldn't handle, and Syracuse with the ace. Job by Skylar George. Layla, Syracuse is down 1 to the 4th best team in the country. What's it going to take to sustain that?
The same things they're doing now. Tough serving. Remember how I said early in the beginning, when you have tough serves against a team like this, you're getting them out of system, and then also being able to ace them. Syracuse is doing a great job with keeping that up on their side.
Palm sends that too far. And Louisville quiets things down once again here in the women's building. It's 10-8 Louisville here in set 2. Syracuse really a good showing in set 1 as well. Louisville won 25-17. Here's Looper. And DeBeer takes advantage of the dig that was too far from George.
Those overpass kills, those are freebies right there.
Anna DeBeer playing with a lot more maybe fun and joy, a little bit less loose now that Louisville's lost its first ACC game of the year. Again, that was against Pitt a couple of weeks ago. Just an incredible game, back and forth, and went 5 sets. Palm floats it. Syracuse trying again for that soft touch. Didn't work that time. Sears-Ant goes behind, and Nikolnikova again goes soft. And now Louisville has to go run it down. That was Looper. Another free ball for Syracuse. Sears-Ant to Nikolnikova again, and it works.
It's such a quick attack. It's almost like, what do you do with that? And for the blockers, you have to see where Nikolnikova is going, what her arm swing is doing to stop her hardest shot.
Syracuse might have found something with Nikolnikova and her usage in this game. Orange are down 2 with Schlichter's serve coming up. All right, Schlichter with the dig. Now Palm. And that goes off the hands of Schlichter, who tried to save it. Good job by the front court of Louisville to stay on it.
That's just great positioning right there and great hands, seeing where that attack is going to go. Louisville's known for their block, Nico, and they show us time after time why they're ranked high in blocking. Maldonado
Diaz and Sherman in there on that last point for Louisville. Again, Syracuse goes with the soft touch. Not doing a whole lot with it, not pounding it down. They're just using their IQ to their advantage, and Ava Palm picks up another kill for Syracuse.
Right over the attacker, the blocker's hands. You can see DeBeer's looking like, whoa.
And you know Syracuse is playing well when their kill leader, Ava Palm, just picked up #1 tonight. But Maldonado Diaz slams it down for Louisville after that point for Syracuse. So it's now a 3-point Louisville lead. But how about the Orange? Ava Palm just picked up her first kill, and it's here in the second set. That shows how much the other players are showing up tonight for Syracuse so far.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you mentioned it before. When you have a team where it has multiple players who can do a lot for the team when one person is down, Syracuse is exactly that right now. Ava Palm, she's not having her best night at the moment, but we have other people like Harris Waddy, Nikolnikova, and George picking up that slack at the moment.
George leading the way with 4 kills for Syracuse. Now the Orange back down by 4. Hey, maybe that film scouting that Louisville uses with the top outside hitters on the other side is working so far tonight. But
Yeah.
there's the second kill of the game from Ava Palm. So Maldonado Diaz exits, Cabello also out of the game. Ellie Glock enters. Glock. And a kill by DeBeer. Anna DeBeer so succinct in her swing, and she adds a kill right there for the Cardinals. Third in the ACC with 385. She also does it with the blocks too. Nicole Nikova, a transfer from Southern Idaho Junior College heading into this year, and she's been really effective for Syracuse. And it took a minute for the call, but Louisville comes out of the timeout with the point, and the Cardinals are up by 5. So here's Anna DeBeer. Leads all players with 8 kills so far on 12 attempts. A .667 hitting percentage so far. She's been incredible tonight. DeBeer put her hands up and saved it for Louisville. And now a free ball for Syracuse. Got to take advantage here in the middle of set 2. Good block by Cressy. And that's off the tape, but what a dig by Schrant. Or rather, that was blocked for Louisville. Now George, and another block from the front court of the Cardinals. That was Kara Cressy getting it done.
I mean, as an attacker, you have to see that you can't just always throw it into the hand. Sometimes you have to just use it and swipe off of the other side of the hand to get that point.
Only Cressy's second block tonight. SU's done a nice job of stopping her so far. Here's Robbins. Good dig by Shimau. And Syracuse gets the point. So here's George, and again, not the highest velocity kill in town, but she finds where Louisville isn't.
I mean, it's smart. She put it right in front of DeBeer. DeBeer wasn't there, and she saw that opening on the court. So great job for George.
And Robbins also finds the opening on the other side. Reese Robbins puts Louisville back up by 5. Or by 6. Robbins with her 5th kill of the night. Miscommunication by Syracuse. It keeps it alive. Again, the block by Louisville. Syracuse cannot get through the block right now. And they finally do, but a good dig by Glock. Free ball for Syracuse. Searzant to Nicole Nikova, and the Orange get the point.
I mean, hey, they went back to her, and they set her, and although that wasn't an ideal kill, it took it over the net and dropped down. A kill is a kill, Nico, and a point is a point, so.
Well, Coach Ganashranam has told us all year that Nicole Nikova has been such a fierce competitor, a much-needed spirit for Syracuse, and a great presence at the net. And she has shown out tonight for SU. Some key points and key moments. And now Robbins with a kill. Every time Syracuse has some momentum and picks up a point, Louisville's right there to stop it.
That's also why they're such a good team. When teams try to get on runs, they immediately try to stop that, where that's not possible, you know?
I mean, hey, Syracuse is playing the 4th best team in the country. The Orange did play Pitt about a month or so ago by now. Service error for Maldonado Diaz and Louisville. Syracuse down by 5.
But you also tell with the score that we've been seeing so far, Nico, they've had the experience over these past couple of weeks to play other great teams in the ACC.
Yes.
And now when they're matched up against the number 4 team in the ACC, they're not down that many points, and they're doing a great job keeping up with a team like Louisville.
And they're not backing down. That's why a lot of these grad transfers for Syracuse even came here to Central New York in the first place. They have a good opportunity at playing some of these top teams in the country. George couldn't contain, and Louisville with the point. Maldonado Diaz getting in on the action as of late, and she picks up her 5th kill of the night. But Syracuse ended up losing to Pitt about a month or so ago, but the sets weren't as close as they are today, and that's just a stepping point in the right direction for SU.
I mean, that's one thing that head coach Ganesh Radam always said is that, of course he wants to win. I mean, who doesn't want to win? But when you have the ability to learn from games that you're in and to see what you...
Against Wake Forest this past weekend, a great back-and-forth battle, but Syracuse couldn't close it out in the 5th set again. It's been these sets, individual sets from time and time again, where Coach Ganesh Radam and Syracuse still trying to find out where they stand. And back out of the timeout, Louisville sends it away, and they're up by 7. Ava Palm comes out of the break and presents herself. We talked about it. Louisville's done a nice job limiting her, but she gets going here out of the break.
That's one way to come out of a timeout, is to get an attacking kill. And, I mean, I think Ava Palm right now, she's going to be needed moving forward. They may not be able to win this 2nd set right now, but that 3rd set, they still have a chance to maybe win this game. It's a 5-set game when it comes to volleyball.
Sure is. And De Beer's attempt goes too far. For as good as Anna De Beer has been tonight, she hasn't had many mistakes, but Syracuse will take anything that De Beer cannot handle. But now it's about taking advantage of those opportunities. And that did not happen right there. Schlichter with the service error. It's those small mistakes that Syracuse commits here and there that just does not escalate them.
It's almost always at the wrong moment, too, because right now it's like,
it's now or never in this set,
until 25, and missing a serve right now is not the best thing to happen. So just being aware of how to minimize those errors is vital for the Orange.
Palm, another soft touch, but Louisville handles it well. They're in system, and De Beer again to respond. She cannot do so. Searzan and Harris-Wadi with the block, and they stand strong for the Cuse.
That was a great block. I mean, they took away her strong attacking angle, which was cross, and Harris-Wadi was able to get over that net and press, and it went straight down, and a point for Syracuse. Perfect timing.
3rd total block of the night for Syracuse. Put in perspective, Louisville only has 5. And they have the 4th best blocker in the country in Kara Cressy, who's in the game right now. 13 in black. George with the dig. Palm. And that goes off of Scott. And Ava Palm back into the game for Syracuse. Orange down 4. And just like that, Ava Palm has a couple of kills. 4 total for the night. Cabello goes back to Maldonado Diaz, and that time the block couldn't come through for SU. But Maldonado Diaz tonight, Layla, she's been kind of a sneaky player to get it done for the Cardinals so far in this game. 5 kills on the night, or I guess 6 on that last point.
I mean, she plays, the style of volleyball that she plays is very Californian, and I mean, that's important because in California, volleyball is such a big thing, and their style is so different. So when you have a different style, such as hers, and you're bringing it into a team like Louisville, it's great because you're talented, you're well-rounded, and you're versatile in what you do on the court.
Maldonado Diaz transfer from Arizona. Really has a strong read at taking a look at what the other side is going to do, like she did on that last kill a moment ago. So Sepulveda native, and obviously playing for the Cardinals, a grad student now for the Ville. Trying to get her team as far as they can go this year.
I just wonder how cool that must be, Nico, to be from an
I can only
area
imagine.
and then playing for that school in your area, having all your family and friends watch you play on a number 4 ranked team.
Totally, and we'll get into this a little bit later, but Louisville's also hosting the NCAA championship this year.
That right there is amazing.
That's front and center on all these Louisville players and staff's minds.
I mean, it's home court advantage. When you're at home, you always play better when you're at home. So
got to get there first, though. It's 1 set at a time, as Coach Buzzboom Kelly has told us. And Louisville wins set number 2.
Switching to another one, you have to see how you can be useful in the new rotation that you're in. And she does a great job with that this season so far.
Well, we'll see how she fares against Ava Palm and Nicole Nikova for Syracuse. See if Anna De Beer can keep things going in the consistency that she's had for the majority of this contest on the Louisville side of things. Good rally here in the first point in set number 3. And Syracuse, just like they won the first point in set 2, take the opening point here in the third set.
That's just Palm having that powerful swing and able to literally swing through the block to get through it and score off of that attack.
Schlichter, a service error or two in that second set that just came at the wrong time. Rebounds here on the serve. Here's Maldonado Diaz, dug by Schlichter. Sierzant sets up George. Again, another soft touch from Syracuse. Not soft from Maldonado Diaz, and a nice dig by Schlichter again, but this time Sierzant mistimed the hit of Harris Waddy, and Louisville will take that point to even it up.
Yeah, that was a setter-hitter miscommunication right there. It seems like Zaria thought that she was going for a different attack, but Sierzant set a quicker, lower set, and they just weren't able to work and figure it out on that set. So. And
Syracuse head coach Bakir Ganeshratnam told us both ahead of this game that it's going to have to come down to limiting the errors from the Syracuse perspective. They've done that for the majority of the night, but it's those missed-time plays that can't happen as Louisville goes up 2-1.
I mean, here's that big block again for Louisville. We see it so often, and they do so well with closing it up and seeing where the attacker is to take away their strong shot.
Palm had 0 kills in set 1. Couldn't get through the block, but you know who does get through the front line? Veronica Sierzant.
Setters who attack, I mean, setters who are front row and able to dump, that right there is such a beautiful thing to see because you also never know when it's coming. So when it's a tight ball like that, you got to watch out for those front row setters.
Sierzant, again, we talk about those timely mistakes. Service error for Syracuse. But for Sierzant, a great kill just a minute ago. Syracuse isn't doing it with the velocity. They're doing it by the touch and the IQ, and they're playing smart tonight. Still down 2-0. And Waller goes too far on that attempt, so Louisville in front 4-2. In set 1, it was Louisville taking it 25-17, and then 25-18 in set 2. We'll see what the rest of set 3 has in store. But Layla, Syracuse hanging around tonight.
They are. I mean, it's great to see because sometimes you can be so defeated when you're playing these high-ranked teams in the ACC right now. I mean, it is the best conference right now in the country. So the momentum has to keep it up.
And there is Kara Cressy with the block. Hannah Shurman to send it off. That goes off the top of the tape, skids into the dig of Palm. Now she goes back for the kill. Couldn't do so. De Beer. Dug out by George. Sierzant over to Palm again, and the block stands strong for Louisville.
We were just talking about how Cressy is quiet right now, and there she goes with that big, massive block, doing what she does best. Getting points for a team with her defensive skills.
This third set so far for Louisville really represents the Cardinals, at least what they've been doing for the majority of this year. It's the block, and it's taking advantage of mistakes that's come on the other side. And in this case, Syracuse with a couple of service errors. Good block by Sydney Waller. Syracuse says, hey, we know you have one of the best blockers in the country, but we got some players ourselves, and Sydney Waller picks up a block right there for Syracuse.
That's what you have to do right now in moments like this with attackers like Louisville's. You have to be able to block, and Waller did a great job with seeing that and pressing over.
First block of the game for Waller.
The #1 team in the ACC right now with the best blocks, and they're showing that right now with Syracuse. Cressy's picking it up, and she's a big force to be reckoned with right now.
Just over 3 blocks per set for the Cardinals. And we're back underway here in the women's building. Cressy tried for the kill. Syracuse did a good job. Now Palm, and she's got another kill. It's been Ava Palm versus Kara Cressy here in the third set, going at it.
I mean, you see, Palm doesn't always have to be in the front row to be successful. She is a versatile attacker where from the back row, she can make it happen as well.
Syracuse down by 4, and to go back to the blocks for just a second, Louisville has 3 already here in the third set, and that average bound to go up here after this third set from the women's building, and that goes off the hands of Ava Palm. Cardinals another point. Charity Looper. Louisville team just so well balanced. We've talked about it time and time again, but they have so many players that can get it done when they need in their respective departments. And of course, Anna DeBeer, who sent it away. And just some mistimed placements from Syracuse. George ran into a wall, literally at the net. Couldn't do anything with the ball to get it back over. Louisville leads 10-4. Good dig by George. Here's Waller. And another kill. Cressy doing it for Louisville.
I mean, the sets to her are just also always so quick, Nico. Sometimes you don't even see it coming as a defender because the setters do a great job with getting it right out of their hands into her hands to be able to get a kill.
Cressy has 4 blocks tonight and also has 6 kills for Louisville after 5 last Saturday against Notre Dame. But Syracuse responds, and a nice job by none other than Annie Nikolnikova.
She's always available. Being up in the air early as a middle attacker is so vital to being successful because when you're up early and you're ready, you can get kills on those balls.
And Layla, you would think that this is kind of now or never for Syracuse, obviously, but for Nikolnikova, she has been really good tonight for Syracuse. You got to think she's going to get involved here. Opportunity. Good job by Louisville. Looper with the free ball. Nikolnikova to Searzant, and instead of going back to Annie, she went cross court. And that time, the block couldn't hold for Syracuse. Louisville earns the point. But you can see what they're doing with Nikolnikova back into the game. How do you like that for Syracuse?
I love it. Like I said earlier, when you have a player who's on the court making it happen for you, you need to keep going to that player. And until they get stopped or until they just can't score anymore, why not keep going to them? And that's what they're doing with Nikolnikova. And I love it.
A good layout effort from Camden Schrand, sophomore from just outside of Cincinnati. But Syracuse picks up the point.
It was one of those shots again where we say it doesn't always have to be the hardest. It just has to be put in the right spot on the court.
How many times have we said that tonight?
So many times.
It's working.
It is.
The Cuse down 6. Schlichter was on her heels for a moment, but regained her stance, and that leads to a point for Syracuse. Orange hanging around in set 3.
That went right in between the seams of the libero and DeBeer, and you can see that both of them just honestly didn't know which way to go for that attack.
And Hagron Kong back into the game, picks up the kill for Louisville. That's her 6th. This Cardinals team just showing why they're so well balanced. 4 players that all have 6 kills each. That would be Maldonado Diaz, Kong, Cressy, and Robbins. And then DeBeer leads all players with 8 kills.
And you know what also makes it so... Okay.
Hey, we're holding our ground too. The Middles might be doing it tonight, but we have a stampede over here at the table. You could hear Searzant there a little bit saying she apologizes for running into us. Hey, no apologies needed when the effort's coming our way.
We love effort, honestly.
And there's effort from Nikolnikova, but a great dig by DeBeer. Searzant over to Palm. Got through the block, but Louisville does a nice job of staying with it, keeping it alive. Searzant to Nikolnikova. Floats it up. And a good dig by Shimao. One of the longest rallies we've seen so far tonight. Who's going to take it? Syracuse does.
That rally right there was so good to see, Nico. And honestly, that attack out and that error on Looper is a free bonus point for Syracuse as well, but they also worked hard for that. And I know they love that right now.
It's these small wins for Syracuse that they're going to take out of this game. Schlichter with the service error. We brought it up a bit earlier, but going forward, many of the Syracuse opponents are in the bottom half of the ACC, and of course, it's one of the probably the toughest conference in volleyball. But when you have some opportunities to take some small wins from these extremely good opponents like Louisville, they'll feed into the rest of the season for sure.
The couple of games that they do have left, Syracuse can capitalize off this moment and just take what they learned from a team like this into the next couple of last games of the season.
Free ball for Louisville. Here's DeBeer. And that goes too far. Rather, that went off a tip from Syracuse. I couldn't exactly make it out who it was exactly, so Louisville picks up the point. DeBeer with her 9th kill. Great dig by Cabello. And now Syracuse a chance. And a good tap over by Anna DeBeer. She can do it from the back. She can do it from the front.
That's what makes her so good. I mean, she really can do it all. She jumps also so high.
Wow.
You can see how she stays in there to see that tip and push it back down on the other side of the net.
Flying high without touching the net. Anna DeBeer having a great game. A couple Syracuse players run into each other. And the Orange go down by 10. It's 18-8 Louisville. But Syracuse is going to walk away from tonight. List them out right now. 23-25 Syracuse lost. Then they won by that same number. And they lost by 2, 28-26. And then it was that final set that didn't go Syracuse's way, much like the third set here against Louisville tonight. As the Cardinals add their lead, it's now an 11-point ball game here in the third set. Peyton Peterson into the game, the freshman for Louisville. Harris Waddy floated it over. It's worked a lot tonight for Syracuse. George from the back, and she finds the last bit of orange on the other side for a point.
So far, those back row attacks have been successful. I mean, being able to get past those hands and get those deep corner shots on the line. It's been working for Syracuse.
Skylar George with her 6th kill, and Syracuse goes back to back. Almost a good dig by George. Hung in there, but couldn't handle it.
I mean, she was there. It just wasn't high enough for her teammates to get other arms on that to play the ball out.
So here is Molly Urban to send it off for Louisville. Sophomore from Indiana. Martinsville, Indiana, just in between Indianapolis and Bloomington. Redshirted last year, and here she is seeing game action this year. DeBeer goes off the block, and that's a point for the Ville. 4 points shy of another 3-0 sweep.
That was just about Harris Waddy just being late to that block. She was there, but if she was just up a second earlier, I think she would have had a better touch on it for her team to be able to play that out and get an attack.
Here's Palm, blocked, but it went out of bounds. So Syracuse will take that point, and it's 21-11 here in set 3. Speaking of sweeps for Louisville, they've got 12 so far this year. This is about to be number 13. And that is how dominant Louisville has been so far this year. We brought it up a bit earlier too, but not just how dominant they've been against some opponents, but they've been playing really, really good opponents all year. They're ranked number 1 with the toughest strength of schedule so far this season. I mean, they've played some extremely good teams. Their only 3 losses were against Penn State, Nebraska, and Pitt just a couple of weeks ago.
I mean, losing to teams like that is just like, wow. And also being able to win against other teams such as like Florida State and Wisconsin, those big, big teams, it does a lot for you. It shows how talented you are as a team.
DeBeer with kill number 12.
She's the most kills right now on the Louisville side. And it just goes to show how talented she is and how they look to her as a leader on the court.
Anna DeBeer just having a phenomenal game tonight. And PK there to put it over, and she earns the point for Louisville. Cardinals 2 points shy of their 13th sweep of the year. We mentioned it a little bit earlier, Layla, but this Louisville squad's going to host, well, maybe not the squad. We'll see if that happens, but that's at least their goal. Louisville, as a college, will host the NCAA championships later on this year, as Louisville's 1 point shy of winning this thing. We talk about Anna DeBeer, great game tonight. Elena Scott, one of the premier liberos. They're both from Louisville, and they have memories of going to that championship that Louisville won in 2012 when they were in 5th or 6th grade and just 10 or 11 years old. How incredible would that be if Louisville was able to get back to the championship game for them to be able to play in it later on this year?
That's beyond incredible. Being a player and being able to go back to your hometown where your family and friends are, and they're able to support you in one of the biggest moments of your life, that's one like no other. So for them to have the opportunity of growing up and to see that, and they could possibly be in that position, it's great, and it's exciting for sure.
Set point again. PK's kill goes too far, and Syracuse back-to-back points. They've been showing fight just like they have all night. DeBeer entered Louisville with 4 years knowing that she could get Louisville on the map, and then hopefully someone else could finish this off. Well, COVID happened, and DeBeer had another opportunity to play for another season with Louisville. And it added just that extra little bit for the Cardinals, and another goal. And that dream is still alive for DeBeer heading into the rest of the season. But for right now, Syracuse with 3 straight points.
I mean, she's trying to fight to get to that NCAA championship. And that's why a lot of players this year who had that COVID year have came back, because they want the opportunity to go to the championship and fight for it.
Texas beat Oregon in 2012 at the Yum Center in Louisville. Still the set point here in the third. It's a good track down by Schrand. And now DeBeer ends it for Louisville. It goes off the hands of Waller. And Louisville beats Syracuse for the 7th straight time. Sweep number 13 for the Cardinals.
I really think for this Louisville